Hey everybody, Hoosier Jedi here with another review for you. This time talking episode 16 of Gotham called The Blind Fortune Teller. And honestly, overall, I felt this was kind of a meh episode. The only real part of this episode that really jumps out is the performance of that actor, whatever his name is, as Jerome, especially at the end, where he just sort of reveals his true colors as a complete wacko, which was of course spoiled in the teasers. So we totally knew this was coming. So once again, the best part of an entire episode, the whole reveal completely spoiled a week before the thing even airs. Okay. So let's just kind of get right into the smaller things, and then we'll come back to that. So, lots of dumb stuff this episode. Dumb thing number one, every single effing thing involving Fish Mooney. I cannot even begin to talk about just how stupid all of this is. And it's like, while I'm watching these scenes, I'm just sitting there rattling off the ways in my head that anybody with a lick of common sense would shut Fish the hell down and restore order in that place. With the number one being, okay, let's cut off your water for a few days and then see how much of a fight you guys are willing to put up. Because guess what? A person will die in 3 days without water. Let that go for 2 and then see how much those prisoners are willing to put up, how much of a fight those guys are willing to put up. So apparently this manager guy has no contingency plans for anything like this and hires extraordinarily incompetent people to work for him. I mean, seriously. Or just, you know what, go out there, lock the door, and then have somebody with a rifle shoot Fish. I mean, you can't really say that every single one of these people is so valuable that you can't get rid of a couple in order to preserve your operation. I mean, it's called operating costs. Stupid. Okay, also stupid. The entire thing with Barbara and Ivy and Selena is like, what? Why are you taking advice from like 12-year-old girls? 7th graders are really not good people to get advice from. Yeah, but Barbara sucks ass, so who cares? Now, the Bruce Wayne stuff was a little bit better this episode, but really the only highlight of that was that cute moment between him and Alfred when Alfred and he salute each other, and I did like that they did sort of make sure that Alfred did the British style salute and Bruce did the American style salute. But I imagine this was probably not a difficult thing, what with Sean Pertwee actually being British. But still, it's a nice touch. But that whole scene at the Wayne Foundation, I mean, they did a nice job of just oozing that patronizing atmosphere that the board members had towards Bruce. But it doesn't really feel like it went anywhere. So basically Bruce said, like, okay, if anybody's up to anything illegal, you better tell me now, otherwise I'll sick some lawyers on you. Yeah, I'm sure those crooked corporate guys are just absolutely quaking in their friggin' boots that a 12-year-old might send in some. Come on. I mean, unless that attorney is She-Hulk, yeah, they're going to just basically laugh their asses off the minute Bruce walks out the door. Oh yeah, and speaking of Marvel, what the hell is up with them calling tossing around the name the Hellfire Club? Now, yes, I know the Hellfire Club comes from real history, and that the characters from the X-Men comics are not the only people to have appropriated that name. It's been used around in a few different places. But come on, a lot of the people who are watching this show are comic book geeks, and plenty of geeks read both DC and Marvel. I mean, the Hellfire Club were the villains of the X-Men First Class, so it's not like even the general public is not totally unaware of these guys. I don't know. I just think that was a really silly choice. And that brings us to the whole Halley's Circus thing. Like, okay, Halley's Circus, this is a thing that would have been around back in this time period. Why not make use of it? Okay, cool. And yet there are several problems. First of all, the Flying Graysons. Now, the only time I've ever seen the Flying Graysons be anybody but Richard and Mary was in the Joel Schumacher Batman movie where, like, Robin had a brother who also died. Here, apparently, he had a whole extended family who I guess also died with his parents because none of them could be asked to take Dick Grayson in. So I guess the entire Grayson bloodline was wiped out in that accident, leaving young Dick Grayson with no choice but to be taken in by the weird billionaire. Yeah. And then there's just the whole thing with Richard and Mary themselves. I mean, there's really not almost nothing to them as characters. We just basically have that scene with them at the beginning where they're arguing and bitching at each other. And then we have that scene at the end where they've reconciled and are talking about getting married. And thankfully don't say something really stupid like, oh, we're thinking of calling our first son Richard. And then, I mean, that whole thing, oh, we'll name him Gordon. And then Mary goes, yeah, let's talk about that. Like, oh, God, really? So, yeah. I just didn't really care for anything that kind of went on at the whole Halley's Circus thing. I mean, it's just like, it just seemed dumb. And then the whole thing at the bit with, like, them going to the park. Okay, also dumb. I mean, really, you're looking to get, yeah, to hell with it. I can't go on any further. All right. So yeah, and then there's the whole thing with the psychic turning out to be Jerome's dad. Well, so effing what? And again, why did this guy think that of all people he was Jerome's father? I mean, did he like go like, hey, that's an awful lot, like Jerome looks an awful lot like I did when I was that age? I mean, why couldn't you have just said like, he felt bad for Jerome. He'd been somebody who'd been trying to look out for him growing up because his mom was such a hoe. Again, just dumb. And let's see what else. There's something else. What was it? Oh yeah, Leslie Tompkins. Okay, so Leslie Tompkins so far has been presented to us as a really intelligent lady and someone basically somebody really smart. And then here she's all blathering on about how the dead might really communicate from beyond the grave, and you should keep an open mind, and you should believe bullshit. I just look at that as like, this is like seeing the Facebook posts of my daffy aunt who believed that giants were real. Like, they vaguely mention giants once or twice in the Bible. She believes that they're real and that they've been covered up. And she even posted this thing on her Facebook a couple of months ago, like, oh, the U.S. Supreme Court's ruled that the Smithsonian Institute has to release this information on the existence of giants that they've been covering up for years, alongside an obviously photoshopped picture of a person next to a giant human skeleton, which I have seen debunked around the internet. So yeah, basically, Leslie Tompkins goes from smart, intelligent doctor to effing kook. I mean, like she feel like I'm watching this and her blather on about this, and I'm like, my God, lady, are you going to tell me that you shouldn't vaccinate children next? I mean, you sound goddamn stupid. And the sad thing about all of this is, I'm still hoping, in spite of all of this, that Leslie turns out to be Batgirl's mother rather than effing Barbara. I mean, I've ranted about this before, but dear God, Gotham writers, have you really not realized how much you have made people hate Barbara? Okay. So this brings us to one of the episode's other few highlights. And this is that whole thing where Victor Zsasz trots out the new and improved Butch, whatever the hell his last name is, Gillespie or Gleason or something really Italian sounding starts with a G. And then he's basically, I don't know, brainwashed him or something and gives him over to Penguin. And just sort of Penguin going like, Butch, dance for me. And then Butch does it. He was like, oh, yay, I got another one of Fish's toys. And then he's just like, oh, wow, Victor Zsasz is an okay dude. I mean, it's just an absurd scene, but it was at least fun. I can handle a little bit of absurdity, so long as it's fun. But what I can't stand is stupidity. And God knows I have complained about stupidity here on Gotham more than once. But what drives me crazy is when the show is good, it's really good. It's just they can't keep those good moments consistent. It's like, sometimes it feels like you're eating. Imagine you're like eating, say, like a lasagna or a shepherd's pie, and parts of, like, some of it's not cooked very well, but then you hit that one piece of meat every few bites that's done just perfectly. And that's probably a really terrible example, but I hope it gets the idea across. It just feels like this episode I'm wading through a sea of crap to every once in a while find that little diamond in the rough. And I know I'm mixing my metaphors again. So, yeah, kind of a thumbs down on this one, guys. Anyway, I'm going to call it here. As always, please comment, rate, and subscribe. And, of course, you can follow me on Twitter at Hoosier Jedi. Until next time, take care and have a good one.